Here we are at Edwards Ferry along the C&O Canal. Edwards Ferry was an operational ferry at the time that the C&O Canal was also operational. It's now just a boat launch. It is actually fairly famous for being the place where the most troops crossed a river in North America. 75,000 Confederate troops crossed at this point using pontoon boats. And so as I mentioned, we're on the C&O Canal, and this is actually a lock house. For each lock, there was or most every lock, there was a lock house, and there was a family that would live there, and their responsibility was to operate the lock 24/7. Whenever there was a canal boat that came along, they were responsible for getting it through the lock. And it's actually pretty spacious, and we're going to go inside. But also here is this is actually the towpath along the canal. It was saved from becoming a highway when Justice William Douglas saw an article in the Washington Post and decided that he was going to publicize that maybe that it should be preserved. So he walked the entire 187 miles of the canal in order to get publicity, and was basically responsible for saving it. What we see now is a recreational and a historical preservation. And we have the lock here. Stonework still survives. Obviously the wood gates have long since deteriorated, although some of the other locks, the wood gate material is still intact. But the canal, the Park Service actually tries to maintain a few of the locks. They actually have a section where they still run a boat, and they pulled by mules that people can ride. We talked to the Park Service guy when we were riding down here yesterday, and he says they stopped operating it during the pandemic, but now they're operating again. Unfortunately, the mules that they use are now too old. They've got some new mules, but they still need to train them. And so the boat right now is being pulled by people rather than mules. And here we have the lockkeeper's house. Pretty basic, but fairly roomy, I would say. Obviously, this would probably be the kitchen area where they do the cooking in the fireplace. They've sealed up the fireplace now, and then they have you have your wash basin station. And there's actually 3 levels to this. So they have a cellar or a half basement. We're not going to go down there. I did. They're just using it for Park Service. Looks like they're using it for storage right now. And we're going to walk over into this. That's upstairs. We'll go up in a little bit. We're going to walk over to the other room. Again, it seems pretty spacious. Looks like they would have had a fireplace at the time. It's been sealed up. The Park Service has done a really good job of putting up all kinds of photos and little descriptions of people that lives, what happened at the time. They also have some scrapbooks here that tell different stories using maps and pictures. But just to give you a little indication of some of the things, the historic stories that we have here, we have, this is Thaddeus Lowe. He was an aeronaut. He actually was used by the Union side to go up in a balloon and spy on the Confederate troops. The Confederate troops actually tried to shoot him down, but were unsuccessful. So, and then here we have a story from a mother in the area, and one of the things is that people in the area, and the lockkeepers in particular, were constantly under siege by both sides, and both sides were trying to control the canal because it was an important transportation route for military and goods and other things. But I'll just read this to you. It says, "Mother told one of the boys to run up over the hill and get an officer. She grabbed an axe and ran out after the men." I think this is the men who were trying to steal stuff from her. "She bluffed them away from the hogs until the officer came. He sent the men back to camp and told her if any more came to molest her, she would be within her rights to kill them because they had orders not to destroy or steal." We actually don't know if that's a problem from the Union troops or Confederate troops. It said both sides were guilty of stealing things from local inhabitants. And there's many other stories. So now we're actually going to go upstairs to the sleeping quarters. That's just a diagram showing the pretty basic house. Here we are in the sleeping quarters. I don't think that these are period pieces necessarily, but you can see that they could actually fit quite a few beds in here. I believe most of the lock keepers' houses were just one family, so to some extent it might be fairly roomy for that family, at least by the standards of the time.
Fireplace kept things warm.
And the fireplace probably kept this warm in the wintertime. Actually, in the summertime, which we're here now in the summertime, I think it get very warm up here. It was a little warm when we were sleeping last night. We were actually fortunate because a rainstorm came through and cooled things off a little bit. And here we have the second bedroom. And as you can see, I think the flooring here is probably original. They may have replastered some of the walls. And it definitely, and you have here your wash basin and also your your indoor toilet, I guess.
Chamber pot.
Chamber pot. Thank you. And as you notice, there is no indoor plumbing. There's no bathroom. They actually have, for modern day people, a porta potty outside. So that's the tour. Let me know if you have any questions. And thanks for watching. Bye.